Chapter 41 Restaurant Opening. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Saturday, September 19th, Elffire City. With the heavy advertising, the social circles of the city were aware that a new restaurant was opening in town. Theo invited all the employees of his company. Sam, Sayuri, the baristas, the cooks, and the rest of the employees of the Fuji company. He expected a full house today and he was looking forward to the opening. Inside a mansion of Elffire City, a couple could be seen hugging. "I missed you so much, honey. Are you okay? Did something happen at the sea?" a middle-aged man with purple hair said with worry as he looked towards his wife as if to see if she was really okay. "I am okay, dear. Nothing would happen with me with the crew you hired watching the boat," the woman giggled as she caressed her husband's cheek. She was a beautiful woman with golden hair and mesmerizing golden eyes. The middle-aged man heaved a sigh of relief. The ocean of this planet was too big, and accidents often happened to unprepared sailors. Thank goodness. "Tell me about the trip then," Izum asked. Yamada Izum was curious about the adventures his wife experienced at the sea. The two talked as Hazel Lionheart narrated her adventure to her husband. When she finished narrating, she asked, "Where are our daughters?" Hazel was missing her little babies. "One of them is here at Elffire City, but she is playing at the city as always. The other is taking care of the other. And the last is at Sakura City," Izum said while shaking his head. They had 3 daughters and all of them had unusual personalities. "At least I can see 2 of them today then," Hazel smiled. "Do you want to go to an event with and father tonight?" Izum asked. Father.in.law is going to an event. That's rare. Hazel asked. It is a long story. It all began when wanted to the central market to look at the people. Izum then began to explain how Theo saved Grandpa Takeo and they became friends. Such a promising young man. It is not a surprise that Father.in.law appreciates this young man. Hazel said. Yeah, young Theo is opening his own restaurant and he invited us. Izum said. Count me in. I want to meet this young man that made Father.in.law like him so much. Hazel said with shining eyes. Back at the restaurant, during the past 3 days, the whole staff was in tenterhooks as they prepared for the opening. The salon staff trained for the service and the kitchen staff practiced the menus repeatedly. Theo wanted everything to be perfect. Even Aiya was much less playful these last few days. It was the first time she experienced an opening of a restaurant as an employee, and she wanted to perform well. The 4 cooks became full-fledged professional cooks during the last days. They could cook much faster and with quality. Theo was proud of how far they came. Aurora also came to help with the opening. She asked Theo if she could help June with the operations of the restaurant. He thought that it wouldn't hurt so he allowed it. Surprisingly, Aurora was talented, and June appreciated her help. At 5 p.m., 1 hour before the opening, Theo called all the employees to the staff lounge room. Guys, that is it. We are about to open. And I don't have much to say. Only that I hope all of you give all your efforts. I am counting on you. Theo smiled as he looked at his employees. These last few days he already could feel that they became familiar with each other. Let's go. Theo said with excitement. Yes, boss, they shouted. Then they dispersed to take their positions. Dovi Ko Theo called the greeter for a talk. Kaio, if any of these people arrive. I want someone to warn me that they arrive, okay? Theo said to Kaio, the greeter. Yes, boss. Kaio exclaimed. Soon the opening arrived, and the Spark restaurant opened officially. Lisa Gardner was a graduate student of Bluecorn University and she wanted to go out with her friends on Saturday night. They wanted to go to a club to dance but they wanted first to go to a restaurant to eat something. It was then that they heard that a new restaurant in town. So, they decided to go to the restaurant early and after they would go to the club. They were in a taxi going to the restaurant when Lisa said, "I heard this new restaurant is really beautiful from outside," she said. "We can take some pictures to post on social media then." Laura said, she was Lisa's friend. "Yes, we can do that." Monica said, she was also their friend. They all looked stunning when they exited the taxi at the front of the restaurant. When they looked at the restaurant, they had to admit that it was a beautiful building. They entered the building and arrived at the greeter counter. "Hello, I have a reservation with the name Lisa Gardner," Lisa said with a smile. "Wait a moment, please," Kaio said as he looked at the restaurant system. "I can see here. Please, if you follow our employee, he will show you your table." Kaio smiled at the three pretty ladies. "Thank you," Lisa said with a smile. When they arrived at the salon, the three girls stopped at the same time. They never such a beautiful scene. The saloon looked so romantic. With the flowers at the ceiling and the stars in the sky and with a warm light that made it look like it was candlelight. "Oh my gosh, are you guys seeing this?" Lisa asked her friends. "Oh yes," they both replied. Then they followed the employee to their table as they continued to admire the salon. When they sat at their table, a waiter arrived and handed over 3 menus for them to look at. I never heard some of these dishes," Lisa said as she looked at the menu. "Miss, most of the dishes of our restaurant are an original recipe from our head chef. So, you won't find anywhere else," the waiter said. "What do you recommend?" Monica asked the writer. "If you ladies don't want to eat heavy food, the vegetarian menu is a must. If you want delicate dishes, I recommend the ocean menu. But if you guys want something different and with more taste, I recommend the red menu," the waiter said. "How about we order each menu, and we share with the other?" Laura suggested. "I am okay with that," Lisa said. "Me too," Monica also replied. "Okay, ladies, do you want something to drink? We have a large variety of drinks if you girls see the drink menu," the waiter said. They looked at the drink menu, and they must admit that they had great drinks. Especially wines. They selected a bottle of wine, and the waiter went away. Chapter 42 Restaurant Opening 2 You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. The three girls started to observe the ambient. They had never seen such a scene before. The background music played and gave a comfortable feeling to the clients that were seated. "I never thought that such a beautiful restaurant would open here in Elffire City," Monica said in wonder. "Yes, it is so breathtakingly beautiful," Laura exclaimed. As they started talking, they noticed that more and more clients started to arrive and all of them had their breath taken away when they saw the scene of the restaurant salon. After 10 minutes, the waiter arrived with their appetizers. The 3 dishes were tasty looking and made them salivate with anticipation. "Here are the appetizers, ladies," the waiter said as he placed the dishes on the table. "Thank you," they replied. "Wow, it looks appetizing," Lisa said after the waiter left. "Let's taste it," Laura said with a smile. When they tasted it, they immediately knew what a good appetizer was. The salad was fresh and with a taste that gave the client a fresh feeling. The seaweed with fried shrimps was exotic and gave the feeling of dining by the sea. And lastly, the hummus with sun-dried tomatoes was perfect to vegetarian and non-vegetarian people. "Wow, it is so tasty. You guys have to taste this," Laura said with excitement. They traded and 3 of them tasted all the dishes. They had to admit that just by looking to the appetizers, the restaurant was looking like a great restaurant. "Which one did you guys like the most?" "Particularly I liked the hummus with sun-dried tomatoes," Lisa said while sipping her wine after they finished eating the appetizers. "I think I liked the fresh salad. I like more appetizers that are fresher and lighter," Monica said. "For me it was the seaweed with fried shrimps. I like more exotic things and I loved the taste of this dish. Laura said with a smile as she also sipped her wine. It looks like we each liked one of the dishes. Monica giggled. After waiting 5 more minutes after they finished eating the appetizers, the main course arrived. Here, ladies, the main course, the waiter said as he arrived with 3 plates of dishes. Here is the lasagna. An original recipe of our head chef, the waiter said as he served the lasagna to Monica. Here is the sea soup. Another original recipe of our head chef, the waiter said as he served the sea soup to Laura. Here is the ratatouille. One more original recipe of our head chef, the waiter said as he served the ratatouille to Lisa. Have a great meal, the waiter said as he went away. Wow, it looks so beautiful and elegant. Monica said as she looked at the dishes with shining eyes. Let's take a picture of the plates and post it online. Lisa said with excitement. For young girls like them, there was nothing more satisfying than to share their life online. And they promptly took pictures of the plates to post online later. Let's taste it. Laura said. As they tasted the dishes, their world was blown apart. It was so delicious that they were sure that they never had such a delicious meal in their entire lives before. They didn't even remember that agreed to share their dishes until the plate was almost empty. It was like they were in a trance where they were only allowed to eat. They looked at each other and laughed. They knew exactly what the other was thinking. They shared the dishes, but as it only a little left of the dishes, the others couldn't satiate their hunger for the others' dishes. Each dish was absolutely delicious, and they were amazed by such breathtaking dishes. The lasagna was the belle of the ball. They never tasted a dish constructed like that. It had such a strong flavor, but at the same time, it had the delicacy of a refined dish. The dish had a great presentation that took Theo and Shoko some time to finish when they were training for the opening of the restaurant. Theo, Aiya, Shoko, and Max spent hours designing the presentation of all the dishes. And the rest of the cooks observed them as they also learned as they watched such beautiful dishes taking form on the plate. The sea soup was the refined princess of the sea. It looked like a tranquil sea with a variety of fishes swimming in it. It had a delicate flavor and each fish had the perfect flavor and texture. The ratatouille was the queen of the forest. It had such a unique presentation that made the baked vegetables look delicious. The baked vegetables had such a unique taste that came from the unique sauce that Theo made, it made the flavor of the dish take a leap of quality. Oh my gosh! This is so delicious! Monica exclaimed as they finished eating. This is definitely the best meal I ever had. Lisa said with certainty. And did you guys hear? All the dishes are original recipes of the head chef. Laura said with admiration. He must be a genius chef. Monica said. I never heard of this chef. He must be new. But this is my favorite restaurant from now on. Lisa said as she sipped her wine. As they talked about the chef and the dishes. The rest of the clients also became obsessed with the food as they started eating. The ambient had such a cozy feeling that made the clients think they were at the most comfortable of the places. All the clients were having a great time as they enjoyed the ambient and the great food. The 3 girls were drinking wine talking when the waiter arrived with their dessert. The dessert, ladies, here is cream of sour fruits with a crunch of sweet banana, the waiter said as he served the dessert to Monica. Here is souffle of sweet seaweed, the waiter said as he served the souffle to Laura. And here is the blackberry and apple cinnamon crumble cake, the waiter said as he served the last dish to Lisa. Have a great meal, the waiter said. And that they had. All the dessert was the perfect ending to a perfect meal. The dessert was like the ending of a movie that made the who was watching feel like a closure was happening to the story. That was absolutely perfect. Monica exclaimed after they finished eating. We have to come again. Laura also exclaimed. Yes. We have to call the other girls too. I bet they are going to love it here. Lisa smiled. They asked for the check and even though it was a bit pricey, they thought it was worth it as they had the best meal of their lives. They exited the restaurant and posted online the pictures they took and how they visited an awesome restaurant in town. And like these three girls, all the clients who went to the Spark restaurant had the meal of their lives. Chapter 43 Restaurant Opening 3 You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. At 7 p.m., Theo's restaurant was fully operational with a lot of people enjoying their food and the ambient of the restaurant. It was at that time that three people arrived at the door of the restaurant. It seems like young Theo has great taste, Izum said as he looked at the building. Grandpa Takeo didn't say anything, but he looked with an approving smile towards the building. Hazel looked with shining eyes as she thought that maybe she would be surprised today. The three of them had very high standards and often frequented renowned restaurants, so they had the expertise to judge a refined restaurant. They entered the building and went to the greeter table. Good night, I am Yamada Izum, and this is Yamada Takeo, and Theo invited us for the opening. Izum said with a smile. Wait a moment, the greeter said as he looked at the list of invitations. Here, I found it. Mr. Yamada, Chef Theo told us to ask you if you want a private room or a table at the salon, the greeter said with a smile as he told an employee to tell that a guest has arrived. How about we take a table at the salon? I want to see the other people and their reactions. Hazel asked the two men. If you want it, my dear daughter, I am okay with it. Grandpa Takeo said dotingly to Hazel. I am okay with it. Izum said with a smile. Normally, the two men preferred a private room, but they would do anything for Hazel. We will take a table at the salon. Izum said to the greeter. Great, if you guys follow our employee, she will take you to your table, the greeter smiled. They followed the girl, and like every client who saw for the first time the salon, their breath was taken away by such a scene. Even their experienced eyes never saw something like this before. Hazel's eyes were tranced by such a beautiful scene. The girl employee who was used to such a scene with new clients, waited for them to wake up from the scene. When the three of them noticed that they stopped and that the girl was waiting for them, they were embarrassed. This never happened before to any of them. They arrived at their table and a waiter arrived with the menu. They observed the menu and noticed that most of the dishes were unknown to them. What are these dishes? Hazel asked as she looked at the menu. Miss, most of the dishes of the menus are original recipes of our head chef, the waiter said. Oh, I see. I want this red menu then. Hazel said. I want the ocean menu. Izum said. He had craving for seafood after hearing the stories of the sea that his wife told. I don't want something too strong, so give me the vegetarian menu. Grandpa Takeo said to the waiter. They also ordered a bottle of wine and the waiter left. This is so beautiful. I never saw such a beautiful restaurant. Hazel exclaimed. Indeed, this a first-class restaurant just by the looks. Izum said. Grandpa Takeo didn't say anything, but he looked around with shining eyes. While they were talking, a person walked from the back of the restaurant. He wasn't a waiter or any other salon staff. He exuded confidence with the way he walked. He was dressed in black-colored chef clothing that made his body look even more perfect. His silver hair that was tied as with a ponytail made him look like a casual person. And his silver eyes shined as he looked at the clients enjoying the food. Theo was the center of attention as soon he entered the salon. He looked like a male model. But when the people saw what was written on his jacket, they were shocked. Chef Theodore, they never thought this male god was the chef of the restaurant. The females that were present started to become squirmy as they thought how this handsome man was the one making the delicious food they were eating. The three people who were talking at their table noticed a commotion at the other tables who were looking at a particular side of the room. They looked towards it and Izum and Grandpa Takeo instantly recognized Theo. Hazel also was surprised that such a handsome boy existed. Grandpa Takeo, Izum-san, what a pleasure it is to have you in my restaurant. Theo said with a brilliant smile when he arrived at their table. Haha, it is our pleasure to visit such a beautiful restaurant, my young boy. Grandpa Takeo laughed. Yes, Izum said with a smile too. Hazel was surprised as she didn't know they were so familiar with each other. Apologies for the late introduction. I am the head chef Theodore of the Spark restaurant, but you can call me Theo. Theo said to Hazel with a smile as he extended his hand to handshake. Nothing to apologize. My name is Hazel Lionheart and Izum is my husband. Hazel said as she shook his hand. Yes, this my wife. Izum said with a proud smile. I see you guys make a great couple. Theo smiled. Did you guys make an order? Theo asked. Yes, I hope it is as tasty as it sounds. Grandpa Takeo laughed. I am sure it will be. Theo smiled. They talked for a few more minutes until Theo excused himself to go back to the kitchen. As he went away, the girls who were in a trance when he smiled at the Yamada's table, woke up from their dreams. So handsome, they all thought. He is such refined young man. Hazel commented. Yeah, I had the same impression when I met him for the first time. Izum said. They talked for a few more minutes when the appetizers arrived. And even though they had experienced multiple refined restaurants around the world, they never experienced such an innovative and delicious meal. And that continued as the other dishes arrived with the main dish and dessert. They were so focused on the plates that they didn't even notice when Theo came back to the salon to greet Sam and the employees of Umbrella Company and Sayuri and the employees of the Fuji Company. Sam, how is it? Do you like it? Theo smiled at her. Boss, it is so beautiful. I guess all your work was worth it. Sam smiled too. She knew that Theo spent days designing and experimenting on dishes in his office as she often went there to deliver reports of the company. Yes, it definitely was worth it. And by the way, today is my treat to all of you, he smiled and talked with the other employees of the Umbrella Company. Sayuri, today is my treat. I know all of you have been working hard with the projects I assigned, so enjoy it. Theo said to Sayuri and the rest of the Fuji Company employees. All the employees of the two companies celebrated their boss as they enjoyed the delicious food served. Chapter 44 Restaurant Opening 4 You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The Yamada family finished their meal with a content look. Subarashi. Grandpa Takeo said as he looked with satisfaction at the restaurant. I can't believe young Theo can make such delicious dishes. He is a genius chef. Izum said with a smile. He is so young and yet so talented. Hazel said. We have to greet him before leaving, Izum said as he called the waiter to say to Theo that they were leaving. After a while, a silver-haired young man arrived at their table. I hope my dishes satisfied you guys. Theo smiled at them. My son, they were beyond delicious. I see why you opened such a beautiful restaurant. Grandpa Takeo laughed. Thank you, Grandpa Takeo. Theo smiled. Theo, you are so talented. I am sure your restaurant will become super famous. Hazel smiled. I agree with Hazel. Izum also smiled. Theo thanked him, but while he looked at the couple, he felt that they remembered someone he knew, but he couldn't figure out who. He was intrigued by this mystery. If you guys are up for it, I can show you the place. Theo asked with a smile. They looked at each other and agreed with him. Wait a moment, I will call my friends so that we can all see at the same time. Theo said as he went towards Sam and Sayuri, they also just finished eating. So, girls, what did you girls think about my dishes? Theo asked with a smile as he arrived at their table. Boss, I didn't know you were so talented. This was definitely the best meal I ever had. Sam exclaimed. What a surprise. You are already a genius writer and now you are a genius chef. What can you not do? Sayuri laughed. Theo smiled and thanked them. Do you guys want a tour around the restaurant? Theo asked. Sure, it will be a pleasure to see more of this beautiful restaurant. Sam replied. They stood up and followed Theo. Theo arrived at the Yamada's table. Hey guys, come on. Theo smiled. They smiled and followed him too. When they arrived at the back part of the restaurant, they saw the stone-carved staircase, the chandelier, the glass elevator, and the skylight. They were flabbergasted as the ambient had a different vibe compared with the cozy salon. But it was beautiful, nonetheless. The staircase goes directly to the first floor where we have the private rooms that have the same set as our salon. Theo pointed. And here we have the entrance of the kitchen. You guys cannot enter because of hygiene procedures, but it is possible to see inside the kitchen through this glass wall. Theo pointed at a glass wall. They looked at the kitchen and they could see cooks running to finish the orders to serve the clients. They were impressed by the professionalism of the cooks. They seemed like pros. And surprisingly, all the cooks were as young as Theo. But 3 particular people of the viewing group were beyond surprised. They looked at a particular person with purple hair tied in a ponytail and golden eyes that concentrated while cooking a dish. She had a different uniform compared with the other cooks and they could see she had authority in the kitchen. She was breathtakingly beautiful. And the Yamada family recognized her. Yamada Aiya, heir of the Yamada family. Daughter of Yamada Izum and Hazel Lionheart. She was the last person they expected to see cooking inside a kitchen. But they were impressed. The girl, they knew as playful and that didn't take things seriously, was working inside a professional kitchen with concentration that was rare for her. The cooks were cooking when they felt someone looking at them. They turned towards the glass wall and saw Theo talking to a group of people. Aiya also felt someone looking at her, but as the chef of the kitchen, while Theo was out, she didn't pay too much attention. It was only when she felt that someone was staring intently at her that she turned. And when she saw who was looking at her, she froze. Mom, Dad, Grandpa, she whispered. Kimiko, oversee the kitchen, I am going out for a while. Aiya said to Kimiko. Even though she was nervous about her family finding out that she is working inside someone else's kitchen, she had a job to do and had to do it right. Yes, chef. Kimiko replied. Aiya exited the kitchen and came to her family. Hey, Mom, Dad, Grandpa. Aiya said with a nervous face. They looked at her as if they saw someone they didn't know. To think you could work and not only play around. Hazel said with a playful smile. I cannot believe it either. Izum said as he looked at his daughter. Mom, Dad, I love working here. It is amazing and Chef Theo is an amazing chef, and I am learning so much while working here. Aiya said with eyes full of tears. I trust young Theo, and if my precious granddaughter wants to work here, I support it. Grandpa Takeo said as he looked at her with doting eyes. Me too. I think this experience will be of great importance for you, dear. Hazel smiled at her daughter. If you guys think so, I agree with it too. He wasn't particularly joyful about it, but he thought his father and wife were right. Thank you, Grandpa, Mom, Dad. Aiya jumped on them and hugged them. I have to go. I have to oversee the kitchen while Theo is with you guys. Aiya ran towards the kitchen. When she entered, she became serious again while she went around the kitchen to see if everything was all right. Theo, who observed their interaction, was beyond surprised. What are the chances? He met the father and grandfather one day and the next day he met their daughter. It was like a movie plot. Theo walked towards them and spoke. I never thought Aiya was from your family. Theo said in wonder. Me too, how did you guys meet? Hazel asked. One day I was with my sister buying some food that we were taking to the orphanage and Aiya ran into me and made me drop all the food I was carrying. She offered to buy more food, and when she learned we were going to the orphanage to play with the children, she came with us too. And like that we became friends, and later she learned I was opening a restaurant and I learned she was a cook. So, I invited her to be my second chef. Theo told them the resumed version of the story. They were surprised. The story was unusual. They didn't imagine that they would meet for the first time as they visited an orphanage. That they had an even better image of Theo. Someone as talented as he didn't forget to share his time with the orphanage and help them. I am glad she was there to run into you then. Hazel giggled with knowing eyes. Sure, haha, Theo laughed. Theo then proceeded to show the rest of the restaurant. And all of them agreed that it was one of the most beautiful buildings they had ever seen. After he showed them around, he went back to the kitchen and the group exited the restaurant. Chapter 45s. Grade mission completion. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The service of the restaurant went until 10 p.m. And all the clients who were served went home full of praises for the restaurant. When the last client left the restaurant and they closed the front door, Theo called everyone to the salon. Guys, it was perfect. I couldn't ask for a more perfect opening. And I would like to thank each one of you who made this all possible. Theo smiled at them. And to celebrate it, we made food and opened some drinks to celebrate it. So, enjoy. Theo exclaimed. As just he finished talking, he heard a series of sounds inside his head. He assumed that was the system notifying him that he finished his mission. He ignored this and enjoyed the little party they were having. Cupcake, how was it? Did you like it? You didn't make trouble to June, right? Theo asked Aurora as he drank some wine. No, big brother, it was so much fun working with Sister June. Aurora said with a sweet smile as she ate a lasagna. Yays, boss, Aurora helped me a lot. June said. Great. Theo smiled. They all had a great time, and when everyone ate, they said goodbye to each other and went home. As Theo drove home, he noticed Aurora slept by his side. He smiled. She must be tired. She worked all day, he thought. They arrived home, Theo woke Aurora up and they entered their apartment. They each took a shower before going to bed. When lay on his bed he asked to show all the notifications of the mission. Congratulations. You completed the mission. Build with your hands. Description. It is time to build a business with your own hands. Requirements. You must open a business that you designed and planned yourself. You can't buy an existing business and reform it. Rewards. $100,000. 1000 EXP. Evaluating the grade completion. Ding. Mission completed. Grade S. Issuing rewards. Ding. You received $100,000 in your bank account, ding. You received 1000 EXP, ding. You received director and editor skill, ding. Congratulations. You have leveled up from level 5 to level 6. Ding. You received 4 free attribute points and 1 lucky draw ticket. Wow, Theo was bewildered. He didn't expect that his mission would be graded. But he was happy that he put so much effort into it, as he received an awesome skill that would be pivotal to his plans. System, give me the skill, he thought. Suddenly, an influx of information about how to direct videos and how to edit them appeared inside his head. After the process ended, he asked the system for a description of the skill. Director and editor skill, level 1, 0/100. The ability to direct live-action or animated movies to perfection. And how to edit them, perfecting the directed cuts. This is amazing. Now I can finally start planning for my studio, he exclaimed. System, show my status, he thought. Ding. Host. Theodore Gray level 6, 0/3000, age. 18 cash, $256,890 net worth, $6,090,000 business companies owned. 100% shares, Blue Cloud Coffee Shop, $600,000, 90% shares, Fuji Jump Company, $990,000, 100% shares, The Spark Restaurant, $4,500,000, attributes. Strength. 20 intelligence. 20 vitality. 19 charm. 20 free attribute points. 4 lucky draws tickets. 1 skills. Business management. Level 8, 156/8000. The ability to manage a business to success. Food beverages. Level 8, 500/6000. The knowledge to create and make food and drinks to perfection. Host gains knowledge of the secrets behind the food beverage. Grandmaster fighting experience of the myriad of styles, level max. You possess the fighting experience of grandmasters of over 1,000 styles of fighting. You have all the knowledge, all you must do is to practice to be a real grandmaster. Your training is thousands much faster than a normal person. Arts design knowledge skill, level 6, 1567/3000. The knowledge on how to draw aesthetically and on how to design myriads of projects. The Chef of the Gods skill, level 1, 500/5000. You have the ability to transform simple food into a dish revered by the gods. Director and Editor skill, level 1, 0/100. The ability to direct live-action or animated movies to perfection. And how to edit them, perfecting the directed cuts. Theo analyzed his status. I don't have much money because I had too many expenses this month, but starting next month the company going to start to make crazy profits. Wow, my net worth is more than $6 million. But most of it comes from my restaurant. But it is gonna take a while for the restaurant to reach that amount of money. The worth of the Fuji company is almost 1 million, I think by tomorrow it will reach 1 million. And I will complete another mission. Almost all my stats are at the limit. But no matter I exercise, I cannot gain the last stat in vitality. I guess only with the system I can gain the last stat. My skills leveled up these last weeks too. Theo went through all these points and said to the system. System, assign 1 point to vitality. Suddenly, he felt an inexplicable feeling. He felt like finally, his body was balanced and now he could 3 marathons without difficulty. Ding! Detected that the host achieved the limits of the stats for his age. From now on the stats will only be raised through the free attribute points. I guess I saw that coming, he thought. Theo also noticed that he achieved the limits considering his age. He inferred that might be some people with higher stats than him with older age. System, assign 3 points to intelligence. Theo thought. He felt that his mind was clearer and that he higher understanding ability. A higher intelligence is vital to level up my skills, and I have to level up them because it is becoming more and more difficult to level up, he thought. System, I want to spin the lucky draw. Theo thought with excitement. All the things he received from the lucky draw helped him somehow. So, he was looking forward to what he was going to draw. Opening lucky draw roulette, Theo saw again the roulette spinning. Around 1 minute later, it stopped spinning. Ding! Congratulations! You received the Grandmaster Piano Proficiency, 0/5000, piano. That's awesome. I always admired those people who could play piano, but now I am Grandmaster. Theo thought with excitement. System, draw the skill. Theo suddenly felt a huge influx of information about the structures of pianos, how it was made, how to tune them, the names of each piece, the ability of musical hearing, and many other skills related to the piano. And obviously how to play the piano. Theo was now a Grandmaster pianist. Theo also noticed that he could increase his proficiency by practicing. Grandmaster is not the highest level of proficiency. I guess I will have to start practicing to know, if there is another level, Theo thought as he drifted towards the dreamland. Chapter 46 New Missions. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Theo woke up the next day feeling refreshed. The restaurant already opened and the only thing he needed to do now was to cook. And that he knew how to do it well. He decided to take the day off from the training and only go to the restaurant later. While Theo was making breakfast for him and Aurora, he heard a sound inside his head. Ding! Congratulations! You completed the mission. Back to the original value, description. Your recently purchased business once was famous and more valued. Make it come back to its original value. Requirements. The Fuji Jump Company must be worth more than $1 million. Issuing rewards. Ding! You received $500,000 in your bank account. Ding! You received 1000 EXP. Ding! You received the complete Sword Art Online light novel, finally. These 2 missions took the most time to complete. Theo said in his mind with relief. Wow, I received 500k. Now if I want to buy something I won't have to take money from the company's bank account. And the most important reward is the Sword Art Online light novel. This novel was a huge success in my past life. And the best thing is that I only have to write and not draw the whole thing. While Theo was going through the rewards, another sound was heard in his mind. Ding! New mission I, client satisfied, description. You have opened your restaurant, but you need to treat your clients with care. Requirements. Have 90% of approval from the clients that frequent the restaurant for 1 month. Rewards. $1 million. 1000 EXP. Ding! New mission 2, it is time to shine, description. It is time to experience new things and enjoys this life. Requirements. Play the piano for an audience of more than 100 people. Rewards. $500,000. 1000 EXP. Intermediate singer skill, these missions are simpler compared to the last ones. The first one I just have to keep doing a good job at the restaurant. I was hoping for 85% of approval because there are always people who will dislike stuff. But now I'll have to go up with the quality. And the second mission is really easy. I think I can complete it today if I buy an electronic piano and play for the clients at the restaurant. But with the way the system works, this mission will probably be graded. So, I will have to rehearse a song and play it with perfection. Aurora's birthday is 2 weeks away, maybe I can throw a party at the restaurant for her and play a song at the party. While Theo was planning on how to finish his mission, Aurora exited her room with a sleepy face. Good morning, big brother. Aurora said with a sweet sleepy voice. Theo looked at her and smiled. Good morning, sunshine, I made breakfast. Come eat with me, he said. Aurora nodded. While they were eating, they talked about the restaurant. Do you want to come with me to the restaurant today? Theo asked. Yes. I will do my homework here. And when the restaurant opens, I will be able to help Sister June. Aurora said with excitement. Okay, cupcake. Theo laughed. Hey, your birthday is 2 weeks. Do you want to call your friends and classmates to the restaurant? I can cook for you guys. Theo asked. Aurora was surprised. Since their parents died, she didn't have a birthday party anymore. It seemed that her brother wanted to celebrate her birthday like in old times. Thank you, brother. I want it. Aurora sweetly smiled. Leave it to me then. You just have to invite your friends. Theo said. They finished breakfast and Aurora went to do her homework. Theo went to search prices for an acoustic piano. He wanted a good piano but not too pricey. And he found the perfect piano. It was a B. Sendorfer grand piano, it was priced at $150,000. It was below the market price because it already had a previous owner. This piano was usually priced at $200K. Theo appointed a visit to see the piano tomorrow to see if the piano was in good condition. Later that day, Theo and Aurora arrived at the restaurant. "June, how are the reservations?" Theo asked when he entered the restaurant. "Boss, we are practically sold out. Only the private rooms are not reserved. The clients from last night were a good advertisement and the restaurant is becoming famous in town," June said. "Good, I want everything to be perfect. Tell the staff that they must be extra careful," Theo said and went to the kitchen. Theo had to have 90% of approval from the clients. That night the restaurant had another great service. And even more clients. All the clients that visited, took pictures and posted them online. Their friends saw the beautiful pictures and were impressed, and consequently, they also wanted to eat at Theo's restaurant. And like that the Spark restaurant was becoming famous. The next day, Monday. Theo was at a music store looking at the piano. The piano was frosted black with silver details. It was a beautiful instrument. Theo checked the chords, the pieces, and all the other structures of the instrument. And he was satisfied with what he saw. The piano didn't have any major flaws and he could play it after some adjustments. Theo asked for a professional to fix the piano according to his standards, and the store said they would be able to deliver by the next day. Theo exited the store and went to his office at the umbrella company. He wanted to search for a song he could play at the party. He went through multiple songs of this planet, and he didn't find anything that made him think it was the perfect song to play at his sister's birthday party. It was then that he decided to search in his memory for songs from his past life. In his past life, he didn't play any instruments, but he watched multiple movies with the children, and he remembered the melody of the soundtracks. Then remembered a day when he was 12 years old and he just had come back from working as a delivery boy. He was so tired, but the little ones were waiting at the front of the orphanage for him. All the tiredness went away that instant, and he watched a Studio Ghibli movie with them that day, and it was one of the best movies he ever saw. He would never forget the look of the wonder of the kids as they saw that movie. The movie was Spirited Away, and the song was "Summer" by Joe Hisaishi. This song has a happy tone, and it was perfect for a birthday party. Theo decided that he would play another song. So, he started searching for another song with a more serious tone. And he found it after 2 hours of searching. It was "Ballade pour Adeline." This song existed in his past life and in this life too. So, Theo didn't have to search his memories to play it. Theo spent the day writing the sheet of the songs. And he also started writing the chapters of the SAO light novel. Sword Art Online. Sayuri sent the report of the sales of the Naruto copies, and bookstores all around the country were requesting copies to sell at their stores. They only needed to increase the production and expand the company. Theo wanted to buy another building that will serve exclusively to print and produce the copies. He told Sayuri to contact Sam, and for them to search for possible buildings to buy. When he went to the restaurant that day, Theo was feeling happy that everything was going well. Chapter 47 Aurora's Day. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. That same day, Monday, at the Yukiheim High School. Aurora Gray was inside the first year classroom. Even though she entered in the middle of the school year, she was one of the most popular girls of the year already. She was smart, beautiful, and cold to anyone she didn't know. Multiple boys confessed to her, but she didn't even care. With her silver-gray hair that went until her waist and mesmerizing purple eyes, she was one of the beauties of the school. The Yukiheim High School was one of the most prestigious schools in the country. And all the kids from the powerful and rich families of the city and state frequented this school. Although Aurora wasn't from a rich family, she entered this school with her intellect. And with only 1 month at the school, she had multiple friends. Mostly girls. She frequented the fighting club, and she was friends with her seniors too. At the lunch break, Aurora could be seen exiting the classroom with 3 girls. The girls were the friends she made in the classroom. "Where are we going?" a tall girl asked. She had black hair, black eyes, and flawless skin. She looked like a princess. Her name was Vivian Darktower. "How about we take our bentos to the lake and eat there?" a girl with blonde wavy hair said. She looked like an angel from the stories with her blonde hair and blue eyes. And her name was Kerala Wembley. Yes, this school was so big that it had a big lake and a forest by the lake. "Yes, that is perfect. Don't you think, Aurora?" a short girl asked Aurora. She was the shorter of the four of them. She had pink hair and red eyes. She looked like an anime character, and she looked cute. Her name was Yuki Umaru. "Yes. Let's go. I am famished." Aurora giggled. They arrived at the lake and sat at a wooden table that was by the lake. Aurora opened her bento with satisfaction. Her brother always surprised her when he cooked her lunch. When she saw what it was, her eyes shined with hunger. It was a traditional Yamato food bento, Japanese food. It had so much stuff that she didn't even know the name of all these things. When the girls saw Aurora's food, they went eye-wide. They usually had lighter lunches, with a sandwich or some fruit. But Aurora always brought a bento full of food. "Hey, Aurora, I have been meaning to ask. Do you have a personal chef or something? Because you always bring such pretty bentos." Kerala asked. Vivian and Umaru were also curious. The three girls came from rich families and all of them had personal chefs. But they preferred to eat some lighter lunches. "No, it is my brother that makes my lunch. He is the best cook in the world." Aurora laughed and said with confidence. The girls were surprised, and now they were even more curious about it. "Do you girls want to taste it?" "But only a little. I love my brother's food, so I will make you guys a favor and share a little with you," Aurora said with a tone that sounded like she was making a favor for them. The girls were speechless. Aurora wasn't usually so arrogant. But when she mentioned her brother, she was full of pride. They accepted her proposal and got a little of her food. When they tasted it, it was like a new world for them. These girls who were accustomed to eating fine food were blown away by the tastiness of Aurora's lunch. "Good, right?" Aurora said with a smug grin. "Hell yeah," Kerala exclaimed. "That is so delicious, Aurora. I cannot believe your brother made that." Umaru said. "Yeah, is he a professional cook or something?" Vivian asked. "Yes, he is the head chef of his own restaurant," Aurora said with pride. "Talking about that, my birthday is in 2 weeks and my brother will cook and throw a party for me in his restaurant. Do you guys want to come?" Aurora asked the girls. The girls were surprised that Aurora's brother was a head chef of a restaurant. That showed that he was indeed a professional. "Yes," Kerala shouted, she was looking forward to eating more food from Aurora's brother. Vivian and Umaru also agreed to go. They wanted to celebrate their friend's birthday and eat good food. "Who are you going to invite?" Vivian asked. "The girls from the class and the people from the fighting club," Aurora replied while eating her lunch. "No boys?" Umaru asked with a giggle. "Humph, they only want to date us, and they are depraved. So, absolutely no." Aurora snorted. "Yeah, you are right, you broke the record of confessions made to a girl in 1 month, Aurora," Kerala laughed. "And the boys from the fighting club?" Vivian asked. "Humph, they know that if they are up to something bad, I will beat the hell out of them. So, they are okay." Aurora snorted and laughed. "I believe you will, haha," Umaru laughed. They laughed and started talking about the classes they were having. Aurora had a great day at school. After the classes ended, she went towards the arena where the fighting club practiced. There were 30 people in the fighting club, and it could have it more than that. But the club went for quality rather than quantity. So, all the members had to be tested to see if they were capable of fighting. Yukiheim was a gigantic school, and if the club accepted all applications, they would have more than 100 members. There were 15 boys and 15 girls in the club. Most of them were seniors of the second and third of high school. Aurora was seen as a genius fighter as she had a unique fighting style that no one in the club recognized. She was proficient in Krav Maga and Jiu-Jitsu. And these fighting styles didn't exist in this world. So, Aurora was seen as an important member of the club. When the practice ended, all the members were super tired. Aurora took advantage that everyone was united and said to them, "Guys, my birthday is 2 weeks. I will throw a dinner party for my friends and all of you are invited." I sent the address to the online group chat of the club. Aurora looked at them. The president of the club was Vivian's older sister. Her name was Megan. She had the same pretty features of her younger sister, but she looked more mature. "Okay, we will be there to celebrate, right guys?" Megan looked at them. All of them shivered when the president looked at them. Megan Darktower was the strongest fighter of the club, and all the members were beaten by her one way or another. They were afraid of her, so they agreed to go to Aurora's birthday party. But even without the president forcing them, they would still go. Aurora was liked by everyone in the club. Aurora was happy that they agreed and went away towards the entrance of the school. She entered the car and greeted the driver. "Good day, I hope, Michelle," Aurora said sweetly. Michelle was the driver that drove Aurora around. Yes, it was Aurora. Michelle smiled. "Today, we will go to my brother's restaurant instead of my apartment. I sent the address to your phone," Aurora said. "Okay," Michelle said as she drove towards the restaurant. When Aurora arrived, the restaurant was already opened, and clients could be seen entering the building. Aurora said goodbye to Michelle and entered the building by the back door. When she entered the kitchen, she saw her brother cooking with Aiya and the other cooks. "Hey, brother!" Aurora exclaimed. "Hey, Cupcake, are you going to the lounge or helping June?" Theo asked. "I am going upstairs. I have homework to do," Aurora replied. "Okay, in 1 hour I will go there with dinner, and we can eat together." Theo smiled. "Thank you, big brother." Aurora smiled and went upstairs. She loved that her brother could still have dinner with her even with the restaurant. Chapter 48. Watching a movie. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The next day, Tuesday, September 22nd. As usual, Theo woke up early and went for a spar with Akihiro-sensei. Theo was by now proficient in more than 50 fighting styles at the Grandmaster level. He now could be considered one of the most knowledgeable masters of the world. "Akihiro, you shouldn't elevate your shoulders so much," Theo said while circling Akihiro-sensei. "Ah, I didn't even notice." "Thank you, Theo," Akihiro-sensei said. A while ago Akihiro-sensei became much more knowledgeable, and he asked Theo's help to correct his mistakes. He became even more proficient after sparring with Theo daily. Theo noticed that Akihiro made a tiny mistake in the fighting stance, and he took advantage. Theo threw a fake kick in his ribs, and when Akihiro went for the defense, Theo rotated in the air to catch Akihiro by surprise. Even though Akihiro was a master and experienced, he still was a step too late to defend the flying kick. Akihiro still defended, but it wasn't the optimal defense, and consequently, the flying kick hurt. "Theo, you are a beast. Too fast. I relaxed a little on the defensive stance and you were ready to throw the flying kick," Akihiro-sensei said in admiration. "That's why you shouldn't relax while fighting. You are a master yourself, so I won't explain why." Theo laughed. "Well, time to go. See you tomorrow," Theo said while exiting the ring. "See you," Akihiro-sensei shouted. Theo went home, where he cooked breakfast for Aurora. After Aurora went to school, Theo went towards the restaurant. Today the music shop was going to deliver the piano. Theo was going to put the piano on a little stage that was by the salon of the restaurant. He arrived at the restaurant and saw June. She was making the report of last night's service. "Good morning, June." Theo smiled. June lifted her head and saw a handsome man looking at her with a smile. "Good morning, boss," June said with a little blush on her cheeks. She had to admit she was taken by surprise with such a handsome man smiling at her. "How was the service yesterday?" Theo asked. "We had the salon tables sold out and we were able to get reservations for the private rooms," June replied with a professional tone. "I see, it seems that our restaurant is becoming more and more famous," Theo said with a smile. "Oh.org, hey, if a truck from a music shop stops by the restaurant, can you text me? I will be on the second floor," Theo said. "Sure, boss," June replied. "Bye," Theo said as he went upstairs. Theo was on the second floor watching an online class about editing videos and pictures. He wanted to level up his skill and studying was necessary. He was certain that he could level up the director and editor skills today. With his enhanced intellect, it was an easy feat. He was studying when his phone rang. It was June saying that the truck arrived. Theo ran downstairs and received them. The piano was enormous, and it took the delivery men 1 hour to transport the piano to the stage of the restaurant. The piano looked beautiful with the decoration of the restaurant. "Will we hire a pianist to play at the restaurant, boss?" June asked as she observed the piano with Theo. "Maybe, but it is mainly for me to play," Theo said with shining eyes. "You play, boss?" June asked with a surprised voice. She didn't expect that her genius chef boss was able to play the piano. "Yes," Theo replied. Theo spent the rest of the day rehearsing and playing the songs he chose to play for Aurora's birthday. When staff arrived to start the preparations for the night service, they saw their boss playing beautifully the piano. They thought he was an abnormal freak of nature. How can such a talented chef also be talented musically? When Aia arrived and saw Theo at the piano, she froze. How is this possible? She couldn't believe such a handsome man existed. And he played so well. She became even more in love with him. Theo stopped when looked at the clock. It was time to prepare for the night service. "Let's work." Theo smiled at the employees that were listening to him play. That night the service was another success. According to June, the restaurant was having $130K of profit daily, already without the cost of ingredients, energy, maintenance, and other stuff. June projected that as they only were opened a little more than a week before the end of the month, the restaurant wouldn't have much profit this month. Theo had to pay $1 million of salary to his employees. Aia received $500K and each cook received $50K. June received $100K and the rest was divided with the rest of the staff. This month he was only going to receive $500K of profits that were his. But starting next month his profit was going to be more than $3 million monthly. And if the private rooms are sold out every day, their profit is going to increase. The next day, Wednesday, Theo went for the sparring session early in the morning. He made breakfast for Aurora. He went for his office at the umbrella company to study and level up his director and editor skills. At the afternoon he went to the restaurant to rehearse the songs and at night he worked at the kitchen of the restaurant. And the week went by with Theo having the same routine every day. Theo was happy with how he was living. He studied what he liked, and he worked with what he liked. Saturday night, after the service ended, Theo, Aia, Aurora, and June were watching a movie in the lounge room on the second floor. Theo called Aia and Aurora called June. Aurora became friends with June after they started working together. And that was how the present scene came to be. They were watching a horror movie while eating popcorn. The movie was called Do Not Scream, and it was an awesome movie that really made the viewer afraid. It was about a boy that went to town to visit the tombstone of one of his friends. But there he meets his friend's family in a mansion. And everything was too weird there. The family had a weird habit of playing with ventriloquist dolls, and these dolls were too creepy. In the story, he discovered that these dolls were alive, and if he screamed when they scared him, he would become a doll too. The movie ended with him discovering that all the family members he met at the beginning were dolls, and not resisting anymore, he screamed and became a doll too. When the credits rolled on the TV, the four of them were dazed. Wow, that was such a good movie. Aiya was the first to shout. Yeah, it was really scary. June also said in wonder. I don't think I can sleep tonight. Aurora laughed. It was a great movie indeed. Theo said as he was lost in thoughts. He had many useful insights as he saw the movie. He spent the week studying, and he managed to level up his director and editor skills to level 3. He was not an amateur regarding this field anymore. They talked about the movie as they exited the restaurant. Do you girls want to come with me and Aurora to visit the orphanage tomorrow? Theo asked Aiya and June at the door of the restaurant. Yes, I wanted to go back there for ages. Aiya shouted while jumping. Sure, I never visited an orphanage. June smiled. Meet me here in the restaurant tomorrow morning then. Theo said. They said goodbye to each other and went home. Chapter 49, Visiting the Orphanage Again. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Next day, Sunday, September 27th. Theo and Aurora arrived at the restaurant, and they saw that Aiya and June were waiting for them. Hey, hop in. Theo called them. The girls entered his car and he left. I thought it would be great to buy some toys and books for the children. Theo said. Yes, I support. These things are important for children. Aiya exclaimed. The other two girls agreed, and off they went to a toy store. They bought a bunch of toys. Dolls, little cars, balls, and other stuff. Theo also bought some children's storybooks. They arrived at the orphanage and noticed it was looking much better than it looked when they last visited. It looks like the matron received donations other than mine, Theo thought excitedly. It would be awesome if the orphanage had multiple donators. They searched for the matron and found her in the backyard of the orphanage. When the matron looked and saw them, she revealed a motherly smile. My children, you came back, the matron Isabella said with a loving voice. Yes, we came, matron. And we brought presents. Theo smiled at matron Isabella. He couldn't help remembering the matron of the orphanage of his past life every time he looked at matron Isabella. Let me call someone to help you unload it then, the matron Isabella said. They went towards Theo's car, and when the matron saw so many toys for the children, she smiled. These kids are angels. They already donated so much. And helped the orphanage to stand up again and provide full meals and education for the children, and now they want the children to be children and play with toys, matron Isabella said in her mind with admiration. Thank you, my children. I will call the little ones and we can all play together, the matron said. When the children saw that their big brother and their big sisters came back, they all ran and hugged Theo and the girls. Theo and the girls had such a warm heart when they saw the children running to them. Yes, this is why I am here in this life. To see these children smile and to make my dreams come true. Theo thought. The four big people played with the children all day. June and Aurora were playing a tea party with the girls. Aiya was playing ball with the boys. And Theo was telling stories to the little ones. They played until it was time to go to the restaurant to prepare for the night service. When they were leaving, Theo and Aiya combined to donated $50,000 each. $100,000 was enough for the monthly expenses of the orphanage, and the matron wouldn't accept more money anyway. The matron received their donation with a smile, and when they were leaving, she hugged each of them. It was a motherly hug and the four of them felt her gratitude feeling with her hug. When they were in the car, each one of them felt like their soul was cleansed while they spent their day with the children. "We have to come next month," Aiya exclaimed. "Yes, we should. It was so great to spend time with these kids," June said. "We can come next month," Theo said with a smile. They arrived at the restaurant and went to do their jobs. That night the service was another success, and for the first time, the private rooms of the restaurant were sold out. Theo, Aiya, Kimiko, Shoko, Lauren, and Max had to work extra hard to meet the demand of orders. By now Theo's restaurant was famous throughout the town and everyone wanted to come to have a taste of the delicious dishes. The reservations of the tables at the salon were sold out for the whole next week. They only had reservations available for the private rooms. The next day, Monday, September 28th. Theo arrived at his office and opened a report that Sam and Sayuri sent him. It was the list of buildings that could be used as a printing house for the Fuji company. Currently, they were having a production of 50,000 copies per week. And with that, they would produce a little more than 200,000 copies monthly. But that was too little if they wanted to hit the whole national market. Theo went through all the buildings and stopped at a particular building. It was the printing house of an old newspaper of Elfire City. The building was enormous. They would have to invest much more than the other buildings on the list, but this building had the most potential. The old newspaper had to hit the whole city, so it had a production capacity of millions of copies monthly. The building was being sold at the price of $500,000. Theo sent a message to Sam and Sayuri and asked them to buy the building. He also asked them to start the renovation project of the building and the purchase of all the machines to establish a printing industry at the building. The girls replied that tomorrow the building would be bought and until the end of the week all the renovations and purchases would be finished. Sam had much more help managing the umbrella company now. And she only needed to oversee the departments that took care of the cash flow and the payments of the employees. So, she had time to take care of this task. And Sayuri was in dire need of an expansion of the company. They had the demand, but they couldn't deliver the copies because they couldn't produce more copies than they were already printing. She had received requests from bookstores of cities all over the country to deliver the Naruto manga. But she could only postpone the orders. Sayuri wanted everything to be done as soon as possible. Wednesday, September 30th. It was the last day of the month, and it was the payment day for the employees of Theo's companies. The Blue Cloud Coffee Shop was a famous shop in the city. And the manager of this company was planning to open 5 more shops around the city. He already asked Theo's permission and he approved. Theo told him to take 200,000 from this month's profit to open the new shops and renovate the existing ones. The Blue Cloud Coffee Shop had a profit of 750,000 monthly. Theo paid 250,000 with salaries and ingredients costs. With 200,000 gone to invest on opening more shops, Theo was only left with 300,000 of profit. The Fuji company sold 200,000 copies of the Naruto manga. And with that, they had a profit of $2 million. But Theo used 200,000 for personal reasons. He bought clothes for him and Aurora. He also used 300,000 to pay for building the restaurant. He also spent 100,000 buying more printers. He was left with $4 million. But he pretended to use $2 million with buying the printing house building and establishing a printing house that can produce millions of copies monthly. So, from the Fuji company, he was left with 200,000. That wasn't enough to pay the employees. So, Tel had to pull money from his other companies to pay the employees. Sayuri didn't receive a salary because she had shares and received the money directly when they sold the copies. From the Spark restaurant, he was going to be left only with 500,000. Adding the 3 companies he would have $1 million. But he had to pay the employees of Umbrella Company. Sam received 500,000 monthly. And Theo thought she deserved such a price because she basically worked the whole day and had to tolerate his weird and demanding orders. And the other 500K was going to be used to pay the employees of the Umbrella Corporation and Fuji Company. Theo was relieved that he received $600,000 from the system this month. Or he wouldn't have money this month. Theo finished looking at reports and starting thinking about his sister's birthday. He was looking forward seeing her face as he played the piano for her. Chapter 50 Aurora's Birthday. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Saturday, October 3rd. Today was Aurora's birthday and Theo wanted everything to be perfect. Tonight, the restaurant was closed exclusively for Aurora's party. Theo gave the employees a day of rest. But he invited them to the party if they wanted to go. Theo also invited the employees of the umbrella company. Initially, he would cook alone the food of the party, but when Aia discovered that he would cook alone, she instantly invited herself for the fray and Theo could only agree with her. Theo woke up early and made Aurora's favorite breakfast. When he heard a door opening, he turned and saw Aurora entering the kitchen with sleepy eyes. Theo walked towards her and hugged her. "Good morning, sunshine," Theo exclaimed. He squeezed her. "Happy birthday, Cupcake, I love you. Do not ever forget that," he said to her. Aurora felt her heart melt with his hug and the words he said. "Thank you, big brother," Aurora said with a sweet voice. "Now, let's eat," Theo said with a smile as he let it go of her and went for the table. They started eating and Theo asked, "Do you want to go out this morning? We can go to the mall and buy some stuff," Theo said as he sipped his coffee. "Yay, I would love to, brother," Aurora exclaimed. "But we have to come back after lunch because I will go to Vivian's house, and we will get ready for the party together," Aurora said. "Sure," Theo replied. And like that, they spent the whole morning shopping. Theo still had $400,000 in his bank account that he received from the system. He gave Aurora $100,000 for her to buy anything she wanted. He could give her more money, but he didn't want her to be too spoiled. When she received the money in her bank account, she froze in shock. "Big brother, isn't this too much?" Aurora asked with a trembling voice. "Of course not, I could give you more, but I want to see how you spend your money first. I want you to be responsible. But this money is for you to go wild and buy whatever you want for your birthday," Theo said with a playful voice. "Thank you, but humph, I will show you I know how to spend money." She said that, but she was smiling at him. Aurora bought a beautiful dress for her to use to her party. She also bought all sorts of other clothing items and makeup. She spent the full 100K she received. She was happy and Theo was happy that she bought the things she wanted. Theo also bought some clothes for him. They were branded clothes, and it was pricey too as he also spent $100,000. Now he was left with 200K in his bank account, but he had to pay the school fees of Aurora's school and it was pricey and for Aurora's driver. The school fees were $15,000. It was truly a school for the rich. Theo imagined all the students that the school had and all of them paying this money. The school had to gather millions of dollars monthly. But he also admitted that such large school had a millionaire maintenance budget and salaries to pay too. With all the stuff he had to buy, he would be left with 150K. They ended their shopping spree and had lunch. Afterwards, Theo drove Aurora to her friend's house. And he had to admit, Aurora's friend came from a big family. They arrived at a huge mansion that looked like dark towers together. Aurora called Vivian and she went inside. Meanwhile, Theo went to the restaurant to prepare for the party. He met Aia there. "Hey, you are early." Theo smiled at her. "I had nothing better to do so I came earlier." Aia smiled too. "So, what's the menu of the party?" Aia asked. I was thinking about some appetizers like nachos, homemade pizza, and cheese bread. And for the main course, a different lasagna. This lasagna will have tons of cheese and ham. It will be delicious for the kids. And for dessert, a red strawberry cake. Theo smiled. Wow, you're going all out. Count me in. Aia smiled and exclaimed with anticipation. I will make some exotic juices for them too. As they cannot drink alcohol. Theo said as they entered the kitchen. They worked the whole afternoon. They cooked and arranged the tables by the stage at the salon to be more comfortable for the guests. When it was 7 p.m., they finished the last process, and they went to take a shower at the staff bathroom of the restaurant. When Theo exited the bathroom, he was dressed in black cargo pants from Prada, a gray shirt from Gucci, and a black jacket with silver details at the back from also Prada. Toppled with his handsome looks, he looked like a model that was ready to model through the lane of a fashion week. He went for the salon and waited for Aia to come from her shower. He waited for around 10 minutes while going through the social media when he heard a sound from the back. Theo looked and saw a goddess walking towards him. She wore black jeans pants and a stylish shirt. That he was sure it was expensive. Since he discovered that Aia came from a super-rich family, he would always be surprised at how easy it was to talk with her. But today she chose to put on prettier clothes and she became even more beautiful. Toppled with purple hair that was tied in a pretty way and her golden eyes. She looked absolutely stunning. You look amazing. Theo complimented her with a smile. Aia, who was also amazed at how handsome he looked with these clothes, blushed when she heard that. Thank you, you are not bad yourself too. Aia replied while fighting not to blush too hard. Did you invite your family? Theo asked her. Theo asked Aia if she could invite her family for the party. No, unfortunately, they are not in the city. So, they cannot come. But Shizu-chan is coming. Aia replied. Too bad. But at least Shizuka-san is coming. Theo said. While they talked, 5 girls arrived at the front of the restaurant. Is it here, Aurora? Vivian asked with a curious voice. Yeah, this is my brother's restaurant. Aurora smiled proudly. They all admired the building. Because it was indeed a beautiful building. Vivian, Carol, and Umaru were admiring the building, but Megan, Vivian's big sister, looked at the building with surprise. This restaurant was famous in the city. And she saw the beautiful ambient of the restaurant online through the post of clients that came here. And because of that, she reserved a table for her and her friends tomorrow night. She never imagined that she would visit the restaurant before she went officially and that Aurora was the owner's sister. Aurora, your brother is the owner, right? Megan asked. Yes, President, my brother is the owner and the head chef. Aurora replied while they walked towards the restaurant. Megan was even more surprised, her brother was the head chef. The dishes of the restaurant were the most delicious in the city according to the clients that came here. Megan and the other girls became curious about Aurora's brother.